One of the things that I do, instead of using the pen live during my lecture, I do that occasionally, but more often I'll shut my door and either at night at home or during my planning period here, I will do a 5-minute pen cast that doesn't cover the lecture that I had for 45 minutes, because during the lecture you're demonstrating, you're fielding questions from students, you want to feel comfortable being able to have anybody ask anything, but when the students want to go listen to my pen cast, they don't necessarily want to have to be filtering through that. So I decided to do these 5-minute pen casts that are just very solid, very to the point, so that I can use these year after year after year. And it works well. It's efficient for the student, it's efficient for me, and it's kind of a win-win.
Carbonate is -2, so I'm going to need a 2 here. And I don't guess what the products are. I've memorized that.
Class before the pen was just like any traditional class. It's just, you just write your own notes, make sure you try to get everything. If you don't know it, you go into tutorial. But when I came into chemistry and Mrs. Crowley uses the pen, I can now, if I'm confused or something or miss something in the notes, I can go onto Moodle where she uploads the live scribe and I can watch it, so that way I don't have to go into tutorial. If I still don't understand it, then I can. But I'm able to try to figure it out on my own before I go in.
It might initially require some extra time on the teacher's part to do a pen cast. But if you're going to be teaching that subject year after year, it is something like having your own book collection or your own library of information. You don't have to keep reinventing it year after year. I've been using it for 3 years, and I'm only putting a few pen casts on a month now because I have so many pen casts of the past that I really like that are useful and work.
My sophomore year, which was 2 years ago, for chemistry, Mrs. Crowley used it, and I was in the other chemistry class with Mr. Trombold, and I was able to have class with him, and then if there was something that I didn't understand that maybe she had on LiveScribe, I could go on her site and look at it through there and then hear it again in a different way, just from somebody else.
Formula. A molecular formula still has a whole number ratio.
I'm hearing from students that I have that they're sharing my pen casts with other students in other states. And so how wonderful that is. If that's going to help the student learn, that's great.
Sometimes I just have to read it over and over to try to understand it. And so other than having to spend an hour just reading the notes and reviewing them, I can just watch the pen cast like once or twice and then with my notes right in front of me, and then it makes a lot more sense because I'm having someone work it out for me while I read it.
One of the things that you try to do to help a child is to help them be independent. And self-esteem comes from their ability to do things themselves. And the more I can give these tools for them to help them be better learners and to understand the world around them, the more that they're going to be happier and successful people.